Hello everyone, Matt from Model Minutes here and welcome back to the workbench for another unboxing. Today I'm taking a look at this, the Focke-Wulf TA-183 in 1/72nd scale from PM Model. So join me on the workbench as I get stuck inside this box and see what it's like. So on the outside of the box then we can see this, I quite like this artwork of the TA-183 and I'm pretty sure it's Huckebein, but I've probably butchered that. Apparently it's named after a mischievous raven. Over here on the right hand side we've got a item code of PM213 and you can see over on the left we've got one insignia kind of option indicator which is for the German Air Force. This is like one of those wonder weapons. It's like a fictional aircraft, or it was a concept aircraft. I don't think it pretty much got any further than the design stages. If we flip over to the other side, exactly the same information is present, and on the thin edges it's the same information, but you can see that I've got a price label for what I paid for it in the shop. On this edge here we do have information that this was made in Turkey, and we do have an importer's stamp for Bachmann. On the other side there are some images of other aircraft in the PM range, and again I think this one is like a concept aircraft, whereas I think there were examples of that at various stages of construction at the end of the Second World War. So let's get the box open and see what we have. And of course, because I'm a child and I cannot wait to look at my toys after I've bought them, I've already had this one open to see what was inside. So first thing is we get a little poster type thing. PM include these. I don't mind them. I think they're pretty cool, but I don't really have much use for them. So, you know, it'll probably just end up going in the recycling, but I know some people who do enjoy them. Then we have the fairly standard format of instructions from PM Model. They are printed with elements of colour, which is good. We have information about the actual aircraft over here, or rather the sort of the design of the aircraft over here. And then we have our assembly stages here. We have some very limited cockpit components which need to be joined together: chair, control column, rudder pedals and the floor. And then we join our fuselage around these components with a engine exhaust at the back, and also it tells us we need to include some weight. I imagine this will tail sit if we don't. There is a cockpit canopy which needs to be glued in, and also this front of our air intake here. And then flipping over to the other side of the aircraft we have our landing gear components which need to be glued in here. No display stand and no pilot by the looks of it. So flip over and we have our colour painting instructions, and I love that they're printed in colour because this just makes things a lot easier to do and to understand. So at the top here we have a fictional, they're both fictional, fictional Luftwaffe 46, Defense of the Reich, and then down here Gecko Staffelen in North Africa. Do you know what? I actually really like the concept of the North Africa version. I've not done any German aircraft in the sort of desert schemes that they did, so actually I'd be tempted to do this one. Also, the bonus is that this one's got like these dragon or shark, or I'm not quite sure, like piranha. They're like piranha teeth on the front. So actually that's the one I kind of think I want to do because I think it'll be the most interesting. Of course, this one is like the more typical sort of green and brown of late war, and you can see we've got all our paint color callouts with various brands over here on the right hand side. So let us now take a look at the decals. That's never a good place to have a look at things. And these are sort of printed to the same standard that we expect from PM models. They're maybe a little bit thick. The printing is moderately okay. There is a slight weird, almost like a powder on the top of them, but it's not rubbing off as I move my hands over it. These are printed slightly better to the ME328 that I looked at previously, because that had some weird oddities with the printing, but actually these ones look to be mostly okay. The registration looks okay, so registration is where things line up. But you know, on the whole, we're not looking at a lot of decals on here. We do have our teeth and eyes over here, so I hope that they go on okay. Generally, I don't have that many problems with PM decals. They're simple and they're a bit cheap, but they kind of work. Also, we do have historical decals if you're that way inclined and would like to add them, and they come in separate parts. Yeah, so decals, one small sheet for both schemes. They look okay. I think they'll be usable. That brings us on to the plastic parts. So they all came contained within a bag. The clear parts come contained within their own separate bag, which is always good because it protects them and prevents them from being damaged. So we have our sort of canopy And there are some scratches and things on the inside, which is a bit of a shame, but that's probably down to the age of the tooling. However, the thing I have noticed is there's no framework. It is literally just a molded shape. So if you look at the image here, we have like the back is painted, and then we have framework around the outside and also a frame across the center. And actually on the line drawing here, you can see we've got two lines here. So I'm gonna have to do a bit of masking, I think, and get the mask sheets to actually do the work to give the impression of a canopy on there. I don't think it'll be too hard. It's like one down there, one triangle, and then this masked off. So I'm hoping it won't be too bad to do. But yeah, a bit annoying that there's no detail on our canopy. That then brings us on to the single sprue of part. It's not the smallest kit that I've had from PM Model, but you know, having one single sprue does question the value for money, especially as there's not actually that many parts on here. What we do have are wing components. Wing components come as single pieces. There is a slight mold seam down the edge and a little bit of flash in places. The plastic feels quite dense, but not greasy. There is that slightly weird texture on the surface. It's a bit grainy, which I've seen from PM models before. And the details, as you can see, there are recessed panel lines. They're not as well defined as perhaps other companies, but they look like they'll catch a wash for a bit of extra detailing. So we have our parts for our cockpit here. Very crude, very simple. Not a lot going on there. Internally, there's no detail. Ejector pins are on this side, but it's fortunate that they don't appear to be on any detail surfaces that are going to matter. The wheels are here. They're very simple. Not much going on with them. Control column, rudder pedals, and wheel. Sorry, nose wheel, and then landing gear struts. I think these are the landing bay covers. So yeah, very simple, very crude. The engine doesn't go anywhere. It just blanks off there. I don't think this will be a complicated build. I don't think it will be overly difficult. There are mounting pins for locating it as you join it together. So that makes that pretty helpful. But yeah, generally pretty simple kit. I don't think it should be too difficult. Probably a good mojo build or like an afternoon build. Definitely I'm going to have a go at the desert scheme because I think that will be fun to have a go at. I've not done one of those before, so it'll be interesting to see where that one goes. Yeah, so decals are printed to a reasonable quality. They look okay, they look usable, perhaps slightly better than some of the other PM model kits I've had, but still, you know, not the best quality in the world, but they should work. Painting instructions in full color, which is absolutely fantastic, and the instructions maybe a little bit chunky on the drawings, but I think they're going to be absolutely fine to follow. Clear parts could be better. There could be some detailing on them, but you know, I think I can fix that problem with a bit of careful masking. And then our plastic parts on a single sprue, some detail, but generally a bit crude, a bit simple. But I think for the sake of a mojo build, a pocket money kit, it's not too bad. And then also we had our little poster, which is pretty nice. All of which came contained within the current modern style of PM boxes, which I quite like. I think it looks quite stylish, but the problem therein lies that you are potentially hiding an older kit inside of a newer box. And speaking of the age of this tooling, from what I can tell, it's actually a 1992 kit, which means that this tooling has been around for quite a while now. It is nice that it does have like recessed panel lines and things, which are features that we like to see from today, but they're not quite as refined as perhaps they could be. Supposedly, the current boxing I have here has been available since 2020, so it's something that's just been in general production. But interestingly, it would appear that Revell did rebox this once upon a time as well. Speaking about the price then, so the recommended retail price for this is £6.99, and as you can see, I got an ever so slight discount on my version here. I don't know, actually, I think it might be slightly better value compared to the ME328 I looked at previously, because the ME328 basically had like very little in the box. This has a bit more, it's got more decals, it's got more plastic, so actually maybe it could be slightly cheaper, but you know, on all fairness, I think it kind of is at more or less the right price point. If you could get it for like a £5, then it'd be absolutely fantastic. But I think at this price that I've got it here, that's not terrible given what we've seen inside the box. And with that, I think I'm going to call this one here. Let me know down in the comments what you thought of my unboxing review and whether my assessment of this kit was fair. Don't forget that we've got a Model Minutes Model Club, and if you'd like to join the Model Club and get access to early videos and other exclusive perks, check out the links in the description. Massive thanks to these Model Club members for the extra support they give the channel, allowing me to create consistent content. There are other ways to help support the channel as well, and full information is below the video, but the best way to support the channel for free is by subscribing with notifications turned on so you never miss a modelling upload. Finally though, last thing to say is a massive thank you to you for watching this one, and I'll catch you on the workbench again next time.